Well, good day, everyone. This is James McCracken and your Captain Travis Carruthers back at the helm for this episode of Captain and the Coach. And I'm going to tell you, we are talking about probably the hottest topic on earth since about October 2022, which is none other than AI, and how, of course, it's going to start taking shape in the broking landscape. And, of course, what people are doing in their broking practices right now to leverage AI for automation, efficiency, customer service, delegation, optimization, marketing, and more. And so, of course, Trav, you are leading the charge with some of the things you're doing. So I'm going to do the big handball over to you. We'll talk about some of the things that you've got under the hood that are happening right now in 𝗖𝗽𝗁 Mortgage Broking Services. And if we've got enough time, I might even reveal a little bit about what we're doing at this end with our clients as well. So let me just quickly start with this, which is what was the impetus for you to want to discuss this, knowing that you've got some things going on in your broking practice at the moment?
Yeah, well, we're obviously an early adopter with AI and played with it and played with it and played with it and just had a lot of fun with it and tried a whole lot of different things. I had this concept around essentially measuring the unmeasurable, measuring the soft skills, let's
Yep.
say.
Yep.
And it was just a concept that I was playing with and playing with, and it's taken me about a year of just prompting and playing and testing. And over the last couple of months, it's really gained some traction, and it's now performing at a level that I'm really, really happy with for myself. So now I've finished the beta testing phase and we've rolled it out to our team, and I'm just really excited about it. Like it's something I feel like we've built something really unique and it's something really valuable, and it's probably a perfect time to be talking about it.
Awesome. So just before we go into some of the specifics around what you're doing, because I think you've sort of whet the appetite there without going into the specifics, probably also important to acknowledge that for those that are hearing a lot about AI and haven't yet lent into it a lot, good example of how user friendly it is. I have a client that was unfamiliar with it and put in a prompt the other day around, could you write an email for such and such? And it was in GPT, which of course is probably the mainstream tool at the moment, albeit one of many. And he essentially couldn't believe how accurate and efficient and easy it was to put the prompt in, get a response, and recognized almost instantly that that was going to be simpler and better than it had Eve taken the time to try and figure it all out himself. Now, this goes back a little bit to our previous episode where we talked about is tech making us dumber, and I think I was sitting on the fence a little bit with that one, but I've since reflected on that, and I don't think it makes us dumber. I think that it provides the opportunity for us to make effective use of resources that allow us to do our best work better or more easily or more effectively.
You make a really good point there, James. You'll see through this project, like I don't even think I've really explained my pro this. We have a number of projects, but the project we'll discuss today,
Yep.
we're talking about tech making us dumber. This is a project and a piece of tech that is definitely making myself and my team and my brokers a hell of a lot smarter. It's the growth and the increase in performance that I've had since I've been working on this project as a broker and as a business owner has been unbelievable. So
All
yeah, it's
right. So
definitely making
give
us
us a
smarter.
snapshot. What is it? And then we'll take a little bit of, I'll go through a few questions.
Okay, so how about we use AI instead of me answering that question? I think AI can do a better I can do a better job. So what I'll do
Okay.
is I'm going to hit the voice transcription button in my project, and I'm going to ask the question and get it to answer it for me.
Okie dokie.
Hey GBT, so I am currently recording a broker podcast, Captain the Coach, with James McCracken. The topic we're talking about is AI. James and I are about to discuss the VNLP project that I've been working on over the last 12 months. So instead of me explaining it, I'm sure you'll do a better job. So can you just give us a very quick breakdown on the VNLP project, how it's structured, what the process is, and what the benefits are that we get from it?
Absolutely. So the VNLP project, or Virtus NLP, focuses on leveraging natural language processing to enhance the capabilities of the mortgage broking team. Over the past year, it's been structured around automating workflows, improving client interactions, and providing more insightful analytics. The process involves using AI to analyze communication patterns, streamline client data entry, and improve overall efficiency. The benefits include reduced manual workload, more personalized client experiences, and data-driven insights that help brokers make better decisions. It's really about blending technology with the human touch to elevate the business as a whole.
Okay, thanks for that. Can you just explain? So I want to talk more around how we use the transcriptions and the data that we input and the data that we output and the benefits of that. So just give us a quick rundown on that also.
Of course. So in the VNLP project, we use transcription technology to convert spoken conversations into text automatically. This data is then analyzed to extract key insights, patterns, and client preferences. The input data, like call transcripts or meeting notes, helps us understand client needs better and tailor our services. On the output side, we generate actionable insights that can guide decision making, streamline client communication, and improve overall efficiency. Ultimately, the benefits are more personalized client interactions, reduced manual workloads, and the ability to make data-driven improvements continuously.
Okay, the one thing we didn't mention, can we mention the three-part breakdown of how the data is, once the data is input, what the output looks like and what the benefits are? So there's obviously three stages to the data. So can you explain stage one, stage two, and stage three for me, please?
Absolutely. So the data process can be broken down into three stages. In stage one, the input stage, we capture all the raw data like transcriptions from client calls, meeting notes, and communications. This is where we gather all the information that will be analyzed. In stage two, the processing stage, we use NLP algorithms to analyze and interpret the data. This step involves identifying patterns, extracting key insights, and organizing the information in a structured way. Then in stage three, the output stage, we take those processed insights and turn them into actionable information. This could be in the form of tailored recommendations, improved client strategies, and more efficient workflows. The benefit of this three-stage approach is that it ensures we're not just collecting data, but truly transforming it into meaningful insights that drive better outcomes.
Okay, so I'll stop it there, James. But so essentially what we do is I'll just explain the process really quickly. So we'll record our conversations or interactions with a client. We take the
Yep.
transcription, run it through the project. It spits out three pieces of information. It spits out a 𝗖cies email, which outlines everything that we've discussed. So as you're aware, sometimes the conversations will go back to a topic or will circle back or whatever the case may be. So the using the actual transcription, it's actually putting the email in a succinct 𝗖cies of what we do. So we email that out to the client. So that's essentially saying, "Hey James, congratulations on the new purchase and the new baby. As discussed, this is going to be the strategy moving forward. These are the documents I'm going to need from you. This is the lender research I'm going to be completed. Blah 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 blah." Section two is the really concise notes. So it takes notes. So I'm not actually taking notes in these in my calls anymore. It's
Yep.
transcribing the notes, and we input the notes into the file so that not only I can reference them later, but my team can reference them and move the file forward. The third is the NLP feedback. So it's around giving you feedback on your interactions. Our players at home, this is not going to be a surprise to them. I have the bad habit of waffling, and I now know when I'm recording one of my interactions with the client, I can hear myself waffling, and I'm like, oh shit, stop, because GBT is going to hammer me when I get out of here, and it does. It tells me, Trav, you're waffling again, but you reframed really well here, or you've improved on your commitment, or whatever the case may be. So in my calls now, it's training me to be better in my communication style. So my communication style has changed significantly over the last couple of months since using this project because I'm constantly getting feedback after every single call. Then what we've done even further, which we didn't talk about, the project will generate a monthly report, which is benchmarking off the NLP frameworks and benchmarking off the entire group. So what it's doing is looking at month on month how if you've improved on commitment, if you've improved or in rapport building, and it will map out a big report and graphs, and it's quite impressive. So
Yep.
looking at how you perform in a whole over the month and if you're tracking in the right direction month on month. So you're getting the feedback in every single conversation, and then you're getting the monthly report, which I go through with the team, and it's around just improving that client interaction. Because let's be honest, there's 20,000 brokers. I would say the top half are probably very, very proficient at writing loans. But what makes you an elite broker is that interaction that you have with your clients, that building that relationship, the rapport building, the trust, the ability to get Google reviews, warm referrals, those sorts of things, which is a soft skill, which is very, very hard to coach. So this project is essentially coaching not only myself but my team on how to be better at that and on how to take us to that elite level broker.
If you had a microphone in your hand, now would be the time to drop it. So, that is a mic drop moment right there, I got to say. This is awesome. So, just take us through the primary tool. So, GPT, meaning ChatGPT, is that one of the tools that you're using that helps convert the notes?
Yeah. So look, we're in conversations at the moment with some IT consultants around how we're going to automate this process. It's a little bit heavy at the moment. We record through the transcription through the recording tool on our phones. I
Yep.
actually push it to WhatsApp, believe it or not. Take the transcript from WhatsApp, push it into GBT. It's already prompted. It structures it exactly the way that I want it. Then I push the email out, I push the notes out, I read the feedback, and then we move on. So that's it. It's not as streamlined as what it should be yet, but the way that I've been able to sell it to my brokers and my team is you physically typing an email and typing notes. This is quicker. Yes, you've got to copy, paste, drag, drop, wait for it to prompt and push out. But what generally would have been 15 or 20 minutes worth of work for a broker is now
Mm.
5 minutes, and it's actually giving them more the email that they provide to the client. It's very well drafted. It's very clear. My clients now ask me, Trav, can I get another one of those emails? And I'm like, yep, I'm recording this conversation. You'll get one of those emails. My clients love the emails because what it's doing is it's giving them a précis of everything we discussed,
Yep.
and they can review it in their own time. And if they've got any questions, they can come back. And the other benefit you've got is you're locking that client into saying, hey, James, this is what we discussed. So you can't turn around in 6 months' time when rates drop and you were adamant you wanted to go fixed, and you're like, Trav, like, no, we had this conversation. Here's the email. Here's the notes that we took contemporaneously at the time. So it's
Yep.
it's a it's it's a protection mechanism for the broker to protect themselves. But yeah. So
That,
we're
that all makes
automating.
sense. I've got someone else that does something fairly similar. And so externally, as far as client communication is concerned, it captures, as you just said, the key points and communicates it accordingly. Internally, he's also documented that. So as he says, he's like the Fort Knox of compliance in terms of, like, he went to his aggregator, grilled them on terms of what would be, the epitome of compliance, and he's at that level or better, so that internally it works really well, and externally from a client point of view, it works well, and it's of course automated, so that the handover process with his team is as simple as possible.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And so we tried it when I was testing this. I tested it on one of my brokers actually in the office here, and I said, look, so a lot of my brokers, they want to understand my NLP style, my communication. I don't expect them to be like me. They don't want to be. We don't have sales scripts that I say, this is what I say. You must say this. It needs to be
Mm,
authentic to them. So that the,
agreed.
the frameworks remain the same, but it's around delivering in a way that's authentic to them, right? So we recorded
Can,
one.
can I
So
can I
yeah,
just make a comment on that? Um, I'm all for authenticity to the point that it produces a result. If someone says, "Oh, this is my style," but their style is terrible and ineffective, I'd say, "Well, that might be your style, but you need to change that, or you need to consider something different in order to produce a result you want, because that might feel comfortable and it might feel familiar, but it's also ineffective." And so, mind you, I'm doing with coaching clients.
yeah,
And therefore they're usually open to feedback in order to create the change that they want to get the outcome that they're after. So I think there's a balance between being authentic versus also producing a result.
yeah. No, definitely. No, definitely. It's and this is where like this is where actually I got some feedback from someone around this project. I've been getting some advice from a colleague of mine. They've been sort of walking me through the project. Now, one of the things that you make a really good point there is the feedback they're getting is from GBT. It's actually not from me. So, but back to the
Mm,
point I was making,
nice.
where we tested this in the office,
Yep.
one of my brokers, I eavesdrop on his phone call, and then I sit there and go, okay, I'm going to give you feedback on this because that's what he's paying me for, right? Like he's paying me to coach him, not
Sure.
coach him, to sort of train him through the Vertus experience and for him to improve as a broker. So I gave him the feedback. I said, now let's take that transcript, run it through our project, and see what the feedback is you get from the project. The feedback from the project was so much better than what I built it right, but it's not
Yep.
just my language modeling, my feedback. It's also bringing in the NLP, right? So, and he's probably more open to taking he was pretty open to feedback regardless, right? but him taking the feedback from the project is probably easier than taking feedback from me. And the reality of it is, now that we've built this for our entire team, they've got somebody better than me that's eavesdropping on every single interaction they're having and providing feedback on every single interaction. It's like I can't sit there and listen to every single one of their phone conversations and give them a 10-minute debrief on every conversation. It's impossible,
Dude,
right?
I get it. I've built something similar for the coaching notes that we provide to clients. So for what do you mean to 2025? So we'll call it 2026 almost. I've been doing this for 14 years,
Mm.
and in 14 years, I've sent out coaching notes for every conversation for 14 years, right?
Yeah.
And frankly, clients really like it. And this is going to sound ridiculous, but it was just the other day that I found out that a lot of other people don't do this because I've said to them, well, have you ever got coaching notes from other from other coaches? And they're like, no. I asked someone specifically who was had someone who was coaching him for years. What we've done in the meantime, though, is I've built one of these tools, not as comprehensive as thorough as what you've got, but it specifically allows us to capture the key discussion points and provide that from the point of view of clarity and accountability for the client. And the benefit for us is that instead of needing to try and capture the notes during the conversation, you can be more present for what they're saying and listen to the nuances of language that the client's using, identifying potential limiting beliefs, opportunities. You can be more inquisitive, et cetera, all of which I think is a benefit for them ultimately because it allows us to coach even more effectively to help them with the outcomes that they're after, probably in a similar way that you don't need to be trying to stop their mid-sentence to capture the notes. You can just be listening to the essence of what they're saying and also ask the exploratory questions or the probing questions that you need to get the information that's going to help you formulate a solution or a strategy for the client. I would have thought.
100%. 100%. It's exactly what I'm finding since I've been using the project. When I was training my guys on the Virtus process, they're like, "Oh my God, Trav, you navigate from broker engine to quickly to here to there." Like I'm literally typing and moving and typing a million miles an hour, right?
Yeah.
Because I can do that. But like I'm essentially multitasking. I'm not giving the client my full attention. Where
Yeah.
now, yeah, there are certain times when I'll jump into a funding position or I might jump in quickly and the conversation, I'll generally pace that conversation back and I'll take some time and I'll explain to the client, hey, I just need to input some data here because I'm going to look at some back of envelope servicing or whatever the case may be, or look at some funding position for LVRs and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I can slow down the conversation so that I can do those two things. Then when we start getting in depth into strategy and structure and those sorts of things, I just back away from the computer and I just concentrate on what I need to concentrate on. And I feel like it's massively improved that client experience. It builds the rapport, it builds the trust, and then the follow up with the email. It's I feel like I've had more growth as a broker in the last 3 months than I probably had in the last 2 years off the back of using this project. And in saying that, I'm not a new industry broker where you see my growth is accelerating. I'm a high level, high volume
Yeah.
based on numbers. Someone told me that like my numbers would sort of track me in the top 1% in the country, right? So how do you go? Like, there's not really anywhere to move, but I feel like I've significant improvement in the last 3 months. Significant.
So, uh, so let's just break that down a little bit. So that's growth within you? I mean, there's obviously growth within the capacity of the business because things move a bit quicker and it's more efficient. But do you think that's enhancing the conversations with the clients, or is it enhancing the other parts? Because the conversations are about the same, but it's just now the speed of which you get things prepared and organized in order to take the file or the opportunity forward.
Oh, the statement I was making there was around my own personal performance. Yes, there are these efficiencies and these improvements in the business with capacity and so forth, and we can talk
Yep.
about that later. I'm
Yep.
talking purely about my own performance as a broker with a client. I
I
feel,
think that's great.
yeah,
I think that's a massive win then to have that as your noticeable area of improvement. Again, if you're already near the top of your game and you've noticed that you've gone to another level simply because the text facilitated or enabled you to be more present or more capable or more focused or whatever the case is, that's a massive outcome and it's a clear win for your clients as well.
100%. And this is what I was trying to explain to the boys. trying to explain to the broker, when I say boys, I don't have any female brokers. Any female brokers want to come work with us, then I'll talk about the team. But until we have another female broker in the business, I'll just call them the boys. But yeah, I was talking to the boys. I'm like, guys, this isn't something that you're going to do today and see an instant result tomorrow. If you keep working on this and you have this growth mindset and you take on board the project, you're just going to watch 3 to 6 months, your warm referrals are going to just go through the roof, which is like I've worked on my craft
Yep.
over the last couple of years and got myself to a reasonably high level, I would believe. This is just like a superpower. It's almost like cheating. It's that good.
I wonder, are you already doing this? And maybe you are. Is if you could almost have a checklist of non-negotiables that you need to say. For example, and maybe this is actually I'll give you a couple of poor examples, but let's just say in the primary conversation, if you had a so-called formal interview or a formal appointment with a client, obviously, you're going to provide a recommendation. At some point, did that during that interview, did you mention to the client that you're a word of mouth business and you want them to become an advocate, for example? And another one could be potentially that you would be asking for a review. Now, I know in reality, some businesses will ask for a review at a different stage, be it an unconditional or otherwise. But my point being is you could almost calibrate the conversations contextual to a checklist. And whilst you don't necessarily need to fill every box, there'll probably be a correlation between the more of these boxes you're ticking, the greater the impact and the performance of the broker. And probably also the case that they will intuitively know to ask these things because if they know the checklist is going to come up and show that they didn't do it, they don't want to see that from a scorecard perspective, and that's probably going to influence behavior. So anyway, that was just a thought.
No, you say it's a bad example. It's actually a really good example because it's one that we've thought about, right? So as I said, I've been working this project for a long, long time on myself, and now we're rolling it out to the team. So one of the things that we envisage, right, is if we can get to a point where we can record every interaction, right, every phone call, every email, the strategy meetings, the video calls we do, all that, right?
Yeah.
Around, let's talk about you make the point around asking for warm referrals or a word of mouth business, right?
Yeah.
So we work with our team on this, but I can't measure it. So let's say you're my broker. I say, James, we work on a rule of seven. You need to impress on somebody 7 times before they're going to take action. There's a study around that. That's what happens.
Sure.
So I'm asking you to ask for a referral 7 times in the Verge client experience. You're like, Trav, I can't ask 7 times. It's crazy. I've got to start from the initial call. Yeah, you do have to start from the initial call. You're not going to hit them for a referral in the initial call. Hey, we make a big promise in the discovery call, and then we go ahead and deliver it. I'll essentially lead that conversation. Go, look, this is what we do at Vertus. This is how we do it. You're like, Trav, that's really impressive. I really like that. And I'm like, yeah, James, this is what we do. What we do is we're not a transactional business. We work with our clients for long. A lot of our clients are 10+ year clients, and our business is based on warm referrals. We do a great job for our clients in the hope that once the deal is settled, they're really happy and they go tell their friends and their neighbors and their work colleagues. And you're like, oh, like that's me asking for a referral without
Yeah.
actually directly asking you for a referral. So there's one. And
Planting
then
the seed.
yeah. So as we're recording all this data, like let me just this isn't accurate, right? Because we haven't actually gone into beta phase of this, right? So just pick two of
Sure.
my brokers, Nathan and Dale, for example. So I can turn around to Nathan and go, how are you going with rule of seven with the warm referrals? Trav, killing it. 7 out of 7 every single time. Really? Yep. Never miss. Mate, I'm looking at the data here. You're at 4.2 out of 7 over the last 3 months. Oh, well, if the data's 4.2, well, I must be 4.2. Just so you know, 6 months ago, Dale was 4.1, right? Now Dale is at 6.3. So what's happened, what we've noticed is we've trained Dale. This is what we've done. We've improved into a 6.3 out of 7 on the
Yep.
warm referral rate. What we've noticed is we've been able to track his warm referral rate's gone up, his settlement volume's gone up, this has gone up, that's gone up, right? And then we tie it back to a number. Okay, so Nathan, in the initial discovery call, 1 out of 2 times you ask for the referral. In the strategy meeting, there's 2 opportunities for you to ask for a referral. You're not hitting both of them. If you hit those 3 over the next 6 months, based on the data that we've got from Dale since we've improved Dale's score, that would mean an increase in volume over a 12-month period of $16.3 million, which is going to result in $83,417 in increased upfront revenue for you if you can do these 3 things for me. Shit. Okay. I think if you're telling me I can earn $83,000 more next year by doing these 3 things, I'm going to do them. Not me saying, go out and ask for more referrals. Yeah, Trav, I will. Are you doing it? Yeah, I am. I can't measure it. So if I can't
Yeah.
measure it, I have no idea whether you're actually doing it. To be honest, either do you. You think you might be doing it, but you're not.
And I like that you can or will be able to demonstrate that there's a clear correlation between an increase in that rule of seven or adherence to it to a result. And so the result being, of course, more inquiry, more lodgements, more settlements. And so therefore you can say, well, we did this better, which is resulting in that better, which frankly is no surprise at all.
Yeah, and this it's just like we're trying to tie it back to numbers and make everything needs to be measurable. And if we can show the benefits, so everything we build in Virtus is around building to make it more streamlined, to make it easier for the broker, but then giving us better data so that we can make more strategic decisions and get our boys to that elite level we want, right? So
Yep.
it's as I said, I just don't. I could just throw out these big claims of guys. I want you to do this. Yeah, yeah, Trav, we'll do that. Are you doing it? Yep, great. Well, mate, your volume hasn't increased over the last 6 months. There's obviously something missing. You're telling me you're doing it. I've told you to do it. You're telling me you're doing it. We're not seeing any improvement. There's something amiss here, but we can't measure it. It's pointless. Like it's. I'm not gonna sit there and work with my guys and invest time in them if we're not gonna see an improvement, right? So this is a way of getting some accountability on both sides of things. And what it's doing is the more data we're inputting, the better outputs we're getting and the more training I can provide. So
It
I,
allows it, it allows it to be more pinpointed and deliberate and accurate with the allocation of the resources, with the intention of knowing that if you invest energy or focus in this area, it should correlate with some outcome, be it efficiency, better user experience, more reviews, more referrals, more
yeah,
settlements, quicker
yeah.
handling time, or maybe all of the above.
Mm. And this project, right? This is one project. What am I looking at now? Maybe 8 to 10 projects I've got sitting in our Virtus workspace at the moment. That will probably get to 40 or 50. Like I'm coming up with some crazy ideas of just different things we can do. It's unbelievable. Like if you've got a concept, we live in this amazing time where there's every opportunity to actually take that concept and put it into action. It's so exciting. Like you can probably hear it in my voice now. Like when I talk to my team about this, like I'm almost losing my mind because I just see that like this is just giving us such a competitive advantage. I tell my team now, I said, we don't train once a week or once a month. I said, you work 8 hours today, you're training for 8 hours. Every phone conversation is an opportunity to train. Every email, we've got email projects where we can enhance your emails. Every time you send an email, there's an opportunity to train. So my guys are training for 40 hours a week now. Like,
Continuous learning.
imagine how good you could get. Like, if you're training for 2 hours a week, you'd be like, yeah, you know what? Like, I think I can improve on 2 hours a week. Maybe we turn around and say, well, let's improve that to 20. And you're like, Chav, I'd love to train 20 hours a week because I think I'd improve, but I wouldn't get any work done. No, no, just keep working. And off the back of what you're doing, the training is just feeding in and we're getting that constant feedback loop.
The only one caveat I think of when in an environment like this is knowing of the many things you could potentially be offering and sharing feedback with your guys on is choosing the battles around there might be 5, 10, 15 or more things that you could do. And to use a bit of the old Warren Buffett metaphor is if he had 20 things on his to-do list, he'd say, knock out or basically put a line through everything from number 6 through to 20 and just focus on the top five. And maybe even of those top five, what are the needle shifters that are more likely to have a greater impact as opposed to trying to do too many things at once, which might create overwhelm. So I think sort of knowing which battles you want to win or at least go into war with.
You're 100% right there. It's like at the moment we're concentrating on this client experience because I think that is the most important that is the most important part of being a broker. So I talk to
Sure.
my guys, we sell debt. It's not sexy. We don't hand over the keys. We don't hand over the keys to the house. We're not watching our clients drive out of the dealership with a brand new jet ski on the back of a trailer. Like those sorts of things are cool, right? We're selling debt. People don't even want it. So I'm trying to impress on my guys is 6 months after a loan is settled, you want your client to remember how you made them feel, not what you actually did for them.
Yep.
So
Nicely
this
said.
is this is where we'll focus on this. And like you said, I will need to tailor the training broker by broker. Like I might have some brokers that are performing at a very high level, and our monthly report actually gives a score. So what we'll do is broker reaches a particular score, then we might go, you know what, you're performing at a really high level. Your focus now is we're going to move you across and we're going to start working on this project with you. We want you to still work on this project. You get the constant feedback loop, but this is not your focus for the next 3 months. If we see a dip in performance in the VNLP, then we will shift back and we will work on that again. But at the moment, you're performing at a level that we need you to. So let's start working on that thing. So again, around that continuous improvement.
Yeah, I like it. Now the benefit is that whilst you could potentially ask any of your brokers to share what they've done well, sometimes they might have a really good grasp of that, and sometimes they might be like, I'm not entirely sure, but I notice that things are improving. Whereas if you've got the data, then that's going to give some evidence or some insight or some context around, well, here are the areas that have improved, which therefore seems to correlate with this outcome.
100%. This is, again, before I actually obviously been building this for a long, long time, and before I actually started beta testing on myself, I would consider myself a very proficient communicator from my background in the police and the way that I did certain things. But it was
Yep.
very clear on the feedback the project was giving me, it was identifying issues in my communication style that I wasn't aware of. And I've had this affirmation that I've been sort of in front of mind for me for the last 6 months. I don't even think I heard it anywhere. I think I just come up with myself, and it's this. You're not as good as what you think you are, and the work is never done. I know that sounds really harsh, and you've been pretty critical of me being pretty harsh on myself. It's maybe that's probably why I resonate with David Goggins so much. Like, I can be pretty hard on myself, but this is exactly that. I thought I was better than what I was. And I'm like, you know what? If you turn around to me and said 6 months ago, Trav, your communication style with your clients, I'm like, yeah, James, that's why I write the volumes I write, because that's probably my superpower. Then when you look at the outputs that I'm getting from the project, there was so much work for me to do, and there's still so much work for me to do. And I think
Which is
it'll be
encouraging.
never ending. Yeah, which is exciting.
I've essentially forever been saying to brokers that the more you can be clear, concise, and effective, and a little bit more assertive or direct, and leading your clients through the conversation, there's virtually always a correlation between that behavior and communication style and being at the pointy end of the settlement volume range. Now, again, it's a gross generalization, but I even said it to someone the other day that by her own admission is a people pleaser. And I said, what I want you to do is skew your language and your style of communication to feel like it's almost your version of abrupt, because in the broader world, it won't be abrupt. It will just be more clear and concise. It will just be less familiar to you to begin with, because your natural style is to be more amiable and pleasant. And whilst that does deliver a good quality user experience, it's also inefficient and it takes longer, which means it's going to be harder for you to increase your volumes in a sustainable and manageable way.
Yeah. And now how do you go? You need to figure out how you're going to measure that.
So let's just, well, yeah, good point, right? Yeah, look, really good point. So the other thing that sometimes happens is with amiable communicators, and this is probably something that's useful for the audience to understand, is that clients may be less inclined to act with the haste or the urgency that you would like them to. And whilst, again, they're never going to always be compliant because you're more direct or assertive or to the point, there will typically be some level of correlation between, again, that communication style will influence behavior with the client in order for them to fall into line more often, to therefore give you the info that you need within a certain time frame that allows you to do your job. And voila, guess what? You can be more efficient. Again, that's a gross generalization to say, but there will definitely be a correlation between the two.
James, you make that example is a perfect example for what we've been working on here, right? So if you turned around to me 3 months ago and said, Trav, with the NLP, how is your performance around commitment with clients in relation to getting documents? I said, James, I'm really strong on that. Yes, it is a pain point in our business, but I think it's a pain point that we can't solve, because we've been trying to solve this problem for 3 years and we can't solve it, right? The VNLP project says, no, my commitment is down. And so it's giving me examples. So a perfect example of it gave me in a phone conversation that I turned around, we'll just do a live, hey, James, I'm going to send you an email with a document request. Once I get the documents, then we can start working through doing the lender research and come back to you with our recommendations, right? That's in my mind, that's me getting commitment out of you to do it. Well, it's not.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the response that the feedback the project gave me is they actually gave me an example. The way it should have been worded. Hi, James. I understand you're at work right now, but you said you want to move quite quickly on this deal. I'm going to send you the document request now. If you get me the information tonight, I've already set aside some time in my calendar for tomorrow morning to work through your deal so that we can progress this quickly. So if you can get me the stuff tonight, I'll assure you that I'll work on it tomorrow morning. That's
Yep.
commitment.
Yeah,
That
that's gonna influence a different result, right?
that is something that I've picked my brain on a million times over the last 3 years on how I can get documents more efficiently out of clients. Not once did I ever think about that. The reason why I now do that is because that was the feedback I got from our VNLP project.
I like it. For anyone that's interested, there's a video out there. It's a by the by called Influence. It's by a dude called Robert Cialdini. He was like, the godfather of modern day internet marketers, certainly from the early 2000s. And one of the behavioral styles about influencing people is called commitment and consistency. So the thing being is in this instance, Trav, per your example, is if they've demonstrated that they're committed to a certain thing, which is to get the result quickly, and then you're calling them out on that essentially by saying, hey, you said you wanted to get this thing done quickly, so I've put the time aside. And so therefore the likelihood of them behaving in a way that's consistent with the commitment that they've demonstrated is much higher. Doesn't mean it's always guaranteed by any means, but it just means there's a higher correlation. So anyway, that's just something for people to be aware of. And it's also part of the reason why you're using, if you like, psychology and awareness of human behavioral patterns in order to influence how you can have them be more adherent, which of course allows you to do your best work and therefore deliver them the user experience that you want them to have. It's a win for you, it's a win for them, and it's a win for the greater good as well, I would have thought.
Exactly. No,
Dude,
exactly.
this is sexy as. I got to say, I am absolutely loving what you're doing here. I think we need to have another episode or two on this. For everyone that's listening to this, and if you have been intrigued, maybe just drop a like to let us know that you've enjoyed this episode. Perhaps even put a question or a comment in there. We'd welcome your feedback and your thoughts. And I suspect, as I said, that this will be the first of a few episodes because I didn't touch on any of the things we're doing with, or I did marginally touch on AI, but we're doing some things in our coaching business with clients as well. And I think there's probably more where this is going to come from in terms of being able to help brokers operate at that optimum level for their own benefit and, of course, for the benefit of the clients as well.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say probably one of the things I'd ask our players at home to look at doing is start having some fun with your AI, right? Like our Vertis workspace, we're probably, I don't know, somewhere between 200 to 250 inputs a day across the business is probably what we would input into the project, and the project is learning and evolving. And I would say I'm probably about 40% is probably where, if you look at what, like my ultimate goal, if the ultimate goal is 100%, I'm probably sitting at around 40. The rest of the team's probably sitting around 20, and we're using it a lot. Like this is something that you just got to keep playing with and iterating and innovating. And it's not something you need to go buy off the shelf. There are certain tools you can buy off the shelf that are quite good, right? But
Yeah.
this is something that you can build bespoke to yourself. Which is exactly what we've done. This is why I'm happy to talk about it here. Like I've had some people talk about, Trav, you're giving away your IP. No one can build this. This has got thousands and thousands and thousands of inputs from me, my systems, my processes, all the inputs I put in, right? They might be able to build something similar, but it's never going to be what I've built because I've been in this project for a couple of years now, and so just have a play. Trust me,
Yeah.
don't be scared of it. Once you start understanding it, it's pretty exciting. Like you said, it's sexy. It's funny how I'm talking about computers and programming about it being sexy because it's unbelievable. Listen to my GBT mistress.
Yeah.
Very, very pleasant voice.
Yes, well, if we capture what I said off air, then we would we would know that I'm a raving fan.
Uh,
So,
my wife is very jealous of my GBT mistress. When we're in the car, sometimes she'll yell at her and tell her to leave her husband alone. So.
there you go. Yeah, the Canadian, is it a Canadian accent? Maybe, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
North American.
Yeah.
In any case, hey, this has been excellent. I appreciate you being able to share what's going on under the hood, and really, really impressed as to how that's going to provide benefits to you and the team, and of course, provide benefit for your clients ultimately as well. So it's a win-win all around. Look forward to catching you in the next episode. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us today. We appreciate you, and we look forward to continuing to provide value and great insights for you. Stay well and keep winning.